Let me provide a disclaimer for this video in telling you that this is essentially an op-ed piece based on a lot of fact and what I know about the current administration. I believe with 95% certainty that if the President of the United States and his administration are going to employ the use of martial law, it will happen as early as April 20th, 2025. If you would like to check my work on this, please see the executive order that was signed by Donald Trump on January 20th, 2025, declaring a national emergency at the southern border of the United States. You are then going to scroll down to section 6, and specifically I want you to look at 6B, but let's talk about the reporting requirement. Section 6A, the reporting requirement says that within 30 days of the date of this proclamation, the Secretary of Defense, please remember that is one Pete Hegseth, shall submit to the President through the Homeland Security Advisor a report outlining all actions taken to fulfill the requirements and objectives of this proclamation. And hold right there for a minute. Within 30 days, this report was due, which means Secretary Hegseth submitted a report already. That date would have been February 19th, 2025. But Section B is where the main concern lies. Within 90 days of the date of this proclamation, again, that would be April 20th, 2025, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and the Secretary of Homeland Security, that would be Kristi Noem, shall submit a joint report to the President about the conditions of the southern border of the United States and any recommendations regarding additional actions that may be necessary to obtain complete operational control of the southern border, including whether to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807. A quick search reveals that the Insurrection Act of 1807 is a United States federal law that empowers the President of the United States to deploy the U.S. military and federalized National Guard troops within the United States in particular circumstances, such as to suppress civil disorder, insurrection, or rebellion. Whether Trump would invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807 at a national level or just at the southern border is unclear in the document. I will say that the deportation effort of illegals has been a nationwide concern and effort, so it would not be surprising to me if this was a nationwide invocation. The last time the Insurrection Act was invoked was in 1992 during the Los Angeles riots. It was also used during the Civil Rights Movement to enforce the desegregation of schools. But what does this look like if it is invoked? Well, once invoked, the President can deploy active duty military personnel or federalized National Guard troops to any area he deems affected. And we would see Army, National Guard, and Air Force units, which include troops, vehicles, helicopters, drones, and specialized units in our towns and cities. There are also cybersecurity units that could be used, and given the technological landscape of today, this would be different than anything we had seen before. Cyber warfare could play a role in disrupting any online communication or coordination related to insurrection efforts. So do not be surprised if this is enacted, if social media goes down completely. If enforced, the Insurrection Act does allow the military to engage in non-lethal force against the United States citizens, things like tear gas, sound cannons, rubber pew-pews, if you will. Last but not least, the Insurrection Act, if invoked, would suspend our First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights, which I'm going to read to you word for word so you understand how serious this would be. First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And this means that our social media would likely be down or completely infiltrated with government-only information, and we would not necessarily have the right to access any information from the press. Amendment 4, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched, the person or things to be seized. That means they could freely walk into your home, seize you, arrest you, basically whatever it is that they deemed necessary. And last but not least, Amendment 5 writes in a criminal case, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Now, I understand that was a mouthful, but that means they could take away due process of law. They could also take away eminent domain, which means they could take our private property to use as their own. This is a lot of information to digest. If you've made it this far, thank you. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If I have any further details to add to this story, I will do so as soon as I find them. I want to drive home the fact that the three people who will make this decision ultimately are Pete Hegseth, who is a Fox News host with questionable tattoos, a woman who was willing to off her own puppy, that would be Kristi Noem, and then our current president of the United States. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments as we continue to navigate these extremely difficult and trying times.